Hey guys, good evening, welcome back. Right, quick video this evening. Somebody had asked on YouTube how I set up my droop and my ride height on my car. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly go over how I set up my car after a rebuild or when I'm at the track or whatever. The first thing I do is obviously I do my droop first. The rear of my chassis at the moment, I have the droop screws all the way out, and this I like this on my setup. It allows the rear just to droop more than if you had it at a measured amount. And they're both measured the same, but what you need to be careful of is you can actually measure them on the droop blocks. I'll put it on the droop box like this. I always put my droop blocks under the aluminium spring holders at the front and under the shocks at the rear. Okay, I like to centralize the car on them like that, and then I grab my droop box and then I just measure. See, this one's 4, this one's a little bit each more than 4, but if you don't have your ride height links exactly the same length, that will affect your droop at the rear, because there is no droop screw. So what will happen is if the left side is longer than the right side, it will end up that the suspension arm can move further down when it's free of weight. So when you're braking, the weight will transfer to the front, and the rear wheels, one will be able to move further down than the other side. So it's important to measure the length and get the length of your ride height turnbuckles the same. The front, obviously I measure my droop with a normal hoodie droop gauge. I have it set at 6 and then 6 on the other side. Look at that, perfect. You'd think I checked them before I did this video. Okay, once I've done that, I then set them up on the setup station. I've already done that. With my setup here, I have 1.5 degrees camber at the rear and 2 degrees camber at the front. What I also like to do is, we as a team, we don't use shims on the suspension arms here. So what I do is, before, if I've fitted new arms or whatever, or I've been adjusting, I like to measure them with a vernier gauge. So I like to make sure that they're both exactly the same length, left and right. There can be a slight difference. Like this one's just yeah, that's it, 4.4. This one's the left and right are about the same. And then I measure them front and rear. If they're the same length, you've got 4 degrees of caster and 4 degrees of caster. I haven't played about with caster on our car because measuring it is quite fiddly. I have had these things printed from a friend, and they go over the hex. You have to take the screw out the wheel hub, and then they go over the hex. But yeah, there's a little bit of play in them. They don't fit very nicely, and yeah, so I just don't play with the caster. The car works well with a caster like it is. So like I said, once I've done my droop, then I will do, I'll have the car on the setup gauges, set everything up, and then I will put my race tyres on. Whoops, sorry, I just knocked the camera. These are the new ride tyres, and these are bigger than what we had before. So be aware if you're switching from the old tyres. I've got one somewhere. These are 65. And the old ones, we'll just grab one. I've got a set here. Yeah. The old ones, these are indoor, were 63 and a half. So you've got quite a lot of difference in ride height. Yeah, these are 65, 65 and a half. So this difference is what you have in your ride height between the new tyres and the old tyres. So be aware when you're setting your ride height up to use your tyres. I do have these, but again, the hoodie wheels. I don't even know what size these are. Yeah, 61 and a half. So if I set my ride height up on these, I'm nowhere near what I need to be for my fronty tyres. What I do as well is I get my vernier gauge and I just like to measure. Yeah, it's not right. Oh, yes, it is. No, 14 point. What have we got there? 14.46, 14.38. Oh, 14.42. And that then ensures then, once I've got my wheels on, and if I give this one flat or a half flat, I do the same on this side, and then I will just use a normal ride height gauge, and I'll check the ride height. I like to check in 6 or 8 places. I like to go in by the front bumper, and then middle of the chassis here, and then at the back. And then that's how I measure my ride height. Obviously the droop at the rear, because the way I have my car set up, and the way that our spring system works, the torsion springs are, when you have a normal coil spring, when the coil spring is not under load anymore, it's free to expand, and then it doesn't pull it back. With a torsion spring is just as strong in this direction as it is in this direction. So where you would have a car with coil springs and a normal shock, if you push the droop down, depending on the shock length, it would stay there. Our car, it springs back. I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't feel it on the track. To be honest, I've never actually screwed the screws out to the point where this is now and then driven it. Maybe I should test that. But that's how I do it. There was a question on YouTube. So this is how then I will set up my car for a race day. Please note, I have got the bumper off, but it just makes it just easier for getting in while I'm adjusting the car. The last thing I'll do is I'll put the bumper on, and then I'll check the ride height and everything. There is no weight in the fronty bumper for the Iris. A lot of the other makes of fronties, they need to add weight to the front of the car to get it to work. We don't. We've got the shocks here at the front. Works perfectly. Yeah, so that's it. What you will probably see here as well is a slight modification that I've done. The suspension arms at the front, they normally have a I think it was 2.5 hole in for a 2.5 mil screw. What I've done is I opened it up a little bit, and then I tapped it out to take a M3 bolt. For the fronties with our high-nosed fronty bodies, we need a longer screw. Otherwise, you have to stick a load of foam on the inside of the body for the body stops. So I drilled it out and put an M3 screw in. That works perfectly. Further, yeah, that's it. Rebuilt the car now for the last race of the year, outdoors. That'll be the nationals at my home track. If I see my pace, I'm pretty happy. You know, I'm hoping that I should be able to bring home the TQ and the win. We'll give it a go. Sure, lots of other racers want to do that as well. So we'll just see how we get on. And yeah, that's my video for this evening. Like I said, just a nice, quick, easy video. If anyone want any more info on my setups, just let me know and I'll run it through. Obviously, the last thing I do, once I've got the ride height and everything done, is I use my RC Maker tweak wheels. Just lift the chassis up, just to make sure that there's no tweak in the car. But if you've got the ride height, tie rods at the same length all around, and you've balanced it with I use the balance pins to get the weight right. As you can see here, I've got 10 grams stuck to the side of the the fronty weight here, and I've got 10 grams added to the battery at the front here, and on my weights, on my Sky RC weight system, it's perfectly 50-50 left right, and I think I'm at 65-35. I'm not sure. I'll have to look back, and if you want to know more information, just let me know, and I'll make a video on that as well. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye bye.